around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, bet you this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling, welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping a track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Hardest part of the ring is inside you once is here again to be a host of a podcast you listen to, I guess. Not inside you. That's not what I don't know why. I don't even know why I thought to say that, honestly. But here I am. Hello. Is this my worst intro ever? I think so. But it makes sense for considering the show we are covering today. WCW Starrcade 1994. And you, if you're a WCW fan, you might be like, well, Starrcade? What do you mean that's a bad show? It's their Super Bowl. It's their WrestleMania. And it is. You're not wrong. In fact, not only is this the last show of 1994 for WCW, it's the last show of 1994 for this entire series that I'm doing. Wrestling Wars of the 90s, the last 1994 show. And if you're a new listener, that consists of WWF, ECW, and WCW. 3 different promotions with 3 different visions. At least going forward, they would begin to have different visions. And I cover all of those shows chronologically. And over the course of this podcast, we've seen Bret Hart become a huge star, become the face of the WWF. We just saw Diesel. We're just at the beginning of his run as a huge name in wrestling. ECW just started their new voyage in extreme championship wrestling, being a true alternative for wrestling fans and lighting a cult following in years to come for the rest of the decade, really. We saw all of that. We saw promotions make names for themselves. We've seen stars be born. We've seen incredible main events. We've seen huge spectacles. We've seen Hulk Hogan jump ships to WCW, huge, earth-shattering in the context of professional wrestling. All of this stuff, and it all culminates here and now, and that gives us Brutus Beefcake. Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake in the main event of the biggest show of 1994. Hulk Hogan versus The Butcher. Fuck this. And that is just the tippity top of this girthy ass iceberg. Because, let's just lay the foundation of where WCW is right now. Hogan's there. We all understand that. If you've listened to my previous WCW episodes, me and my guests get a lot into Hogan and what it was like for him jumping from WWF to WCW. But here in December of 94, he's firmly implanted in the identity of WCW. He basically forced Ric Flair into retirement at the last pay-per-view, Halloween Havoc, by beating him in a steel cage. But then this prompted a new faction to be born. No, not the Dungeon of Doom, the shitty version of it. The Three Faces of Fear, a faction comprised of Kevin Sullivan, the Butcher, aka Brutus Beefcake, and Avalanche, aka Earthquake. Quite a cast of characters. Am I right or am I wrong, gang? But why do I bring them up? Well, this whole show it pretty much revolves around them. I mean, we see each of these guys several times throughout the course of the show, and we'll get into that in the episode. But the three main events are basically those three guys facing the other side of the coin, the baby faces, if you will. So we have Avalanche versus Sting. We have Hulk Hogan versus the Butcher, as I mentioned earlier. We have fucking Kevin Sullivan versus Mr. T. No, not Booker T. The fucking I Pity a Fool guy. A-Team, Mr. T. Rocky 3, Mr. T. Is it 3? Yeah, it was 3. Rocky 3, Mr. T. That guy is in one of the co-main events of this show. But then outside of that, you got... Fuck, man. You got Vader there. Vader was actually awesome on this show. One of the few high marks of this show is Vader. You also got Honky Tonk Man getting fired right before the show started. Great story that we'll get into. We have finally getting into some Harlem Heat on this podcast. More of, Sherri's with them. Some more of her being insane. And get a load of this. Part of this and slap this on your tits. We have Alex Wright versus Jean-Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H. Hilarious. If you haven't watched 1994 Triple H, I highly recommend you get on the network, get on the cock. Get on the cock there. Peacock. And check out Starrcade 94 if it's up there. It actually probably isn't up there because I feel like they just pulled some fucking shows out of a hat to decide which pay-per-views to put on there. Fuck, man. I had to brush off LimeWire to watch this show, but but keep that on the DL. Keep it on the DL. So yeah, we have that. We have Alex Wright being a German stripper. So much stuff. We have Dave Sullivan dressed as Santa for some reason. I know it's December, but why? Lots of fun shenanigans as always to delve into in terms of Starrcade 94. And to join me in these shenanigans is a podcast that brought a little shenanigans of their own. The $2 Steak Wrestling Podcast. You can find this podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, UJizz, all your usual suspects. I'll link all of their info in the description below. A super fun pod. If you like what I do, you'll like what they do as well. Just a couple of friends talking shit about wrestling, modern day and classic stuff. So a similar vibe, at least I think, and what I try to give you guys. But so here's how this all went down, right? Super cool guys, by the way, all four of them. Yeah, 4 of them. And when I was organizing this, they were like, we're gonna have 4 people. All 4 of us are gonna join, right? So I was like, well, that's a lot of fucking people, but we'll make it work. So we got Aaron, Mike, Cookie, and Tolbert. So we get in the room to record, and Aaron and Mike join. So we're talking, we're waiting for Cookie. Actually, it was only going to be 3 guys. I should correct myself. It was supposed to be 3 other guys. So 4 people total, including me. So Aaron and Mike are in there, waiting for Cookie. Cookie joins in, but this dude got his internet from fucking Kmart, I think. Or he's in some dungeon 5 stories underground because this guy's internet was not. He was 10 seconds delayed. It was hilarious. Pulling back the curtain a little bit, I'm recording this intro before I actually go back and edit the podcast. So I may or may not leave that in there if it's funny enough. But if not, if it sounds a little weird in the beginning, that's why. So Cookie was super delayed, so he ended up leaving because it was too ridiculous of a delay. I would say a joke, and then he would laugh 10 seconds later. It's like, okay, we can't do this. And then, so all 3 of us are in there trying to make it work. And then Tolbert joins, and I have never seen a human being more high than Tolbert. I don't know. Look, all these guys watch the show, as far as I'm aware. So I want to thank all 4 of them for taking the time to watch the show, take notes, whatever it was. I would love to have them all on sometime in the future, but Tolbert couldn't figure out his headphones or whatever. Cookie had terrible internet, so it ended up just being me, Mike, and Aaron. So it starts off as 5 people and it ends as 3. So like I said, I haven't edited it yet, so we'll see how it turns out. But if it sounds weird, the first few minutes might be kind of weird, but then it just becomes us 3, and then it's pretty much smooth sailing from there on out. So just laying the groundwork there, probably some unnecessary. It was just funny to me. I had a fun time. It was kind of a train wreck in the beginning, but it turned out to be a really fun time. Super cool dudes, all 4 of them. Go check them out, the $2 Steak Podcast. And I've meandered enough. Let's get into it, baby. WCW Starrcade, 1994, with myself and a lot of people, but mainly Aaron and Mike from the $2 Steak Wrestling Podcast. All right, so y'all just talk about Jim Duggan for an hour, and I'll just sit here and watch.
We strongly prefer Vader. We're a Haas podcast.
We're
Vader.
a Haas.
That was actually. I mean, that's like.
Yeah. You're so loud.
That was probably my favorite. Yeah, you don't need the mic like right here.
Goddamn Cookie.
Cookie, you need to eat the microphone.
What did I do? I knew I made a mistake inviting you guys. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for making the time to come on here. So were you all able to check out the show?
Yes.
Yeah, I was live tweeting the initial
Absolutely.
matches before the main event, and then I didn't tweet
That's
anything
right.
else out.
Right. Did that really describes the show. It was a lot of matches that were kind of just there for me. Which is weird because I guess I'll ask you guys, you guys seem like about my age, so maybe it's before your time too, but were you watching WCW at this time live?
I was.
You were?
Yeah.
Well, how old were you at the time in 94?
So I am 34, about to be 35. I would have been 8 years old growing up in North Carolina. So that's like we've got racing and we've got wrestling. So
right. You're very youthful, by the way. I would have guessed you were in your mid-20s.
Oh, thanks. That is not the case.
But speaking about not youthful, let's talk about some WCW.
Man,
So this is the show, which I didn't realize
Aaron is
was
youthful.
was Macho Man's debut. Hey, he looks youthful to me.
Why am I so
This is
delayed?
fucking
I can
guy.
hear
I'm
like
just kidding.
the.
But yeah, Macho Man debuts at this pay-per-view, which I was disappointed because I've been rewatching 94 Raws, and he was like the best part, his commentary, because everything else was just shit, but he would be hilarious on commentary. But he's here now, and that's like the whole thing, because Starrcade, I guess, is their biggest pay-per-view of the year, and the whole build to it is like, hey, Macho Man's here. Is he gonna slap Hulk Hogan, or is he gonna shake his hand? They're like, it's like a thread throughout the whole night. Were you guys big? I mean, I'm clearly a big Macho Man fan. Were you? I guess Aaron, you were the one person watching at the time. Was that like a big thing? At the time?
So maybe not Macho Man, but he was definitely a part of my peripheral. I was always I hate to admit it, I did like Mr. Hogan a little bit back in those days.
Oh yeah, you were the one. You were the one that liked Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, well, of course, because he was like thrown down our throats, week after week, and then. But honestly, I think Sting was like my big dude because I was a WCW guy originally, and that's kind of what got me into professional wrestling. And so it was a big deal to have Macho Man in there, and Macho Man's a character. You're seeing him on Slim Jim commercials all the time at this point in the era of the early 90s. So, yeah.
So that's like the main thing pretty much on this show. The show opens up, and I don't know about you guys, but this drove me fucking insane about all the early WCW pay-per-views is how they would open up, they would have the pyro, the video packages, it'd be high energy, the crowd's all hype, and then they would just cut to the commentary who would talk for a little bit, and then they show some pack. It felt like it was like 15 minutes of stuff before there was like any matches.
Yeah, it felt like a pre-show, definitely.
Yeah, like stuff that could have been. I think there was a pre-show right back then, of some
so
sort.
What they would do back then is they would have stuff on TBS, kind of leading up to it, and that was like kind of like how AEW does like a buy-in where you don't have to pay for it,
right?
And it was almost like because they had WCW Saturday Night and then a Sunday night program. But so it was like a pre-show leading into a pre-show, and then start.
It's like we bought the pay-per-view already. Like you don't need to sell us on it anymore. But yeah, right away, man. Bobby Heenan, who is gold, man. He just. I think he might have went a little too far on this first joke. They're in Nashville, right? He says, "There's so many pickup trucks here." Killed him, right? That's a good joke. No, I know you're waiting for a punchline, but nope, that was it. That was it, because they're rednecks, right?
I was racking my brain thinking about what racist thing he said, because he did say some other things later on in the episode that made you kind of cringe.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. We'll get to that. Don't worry.
And I'm a pickup man myself, so of course, there's pickups
had
everywhere.
Heat with you, right? So you were probably just throwing stuff at your TV when he said that, right?
Right.
Understandable. And then Aaron Tippin. We can't move on until we talk about some Aaron Tippin. Cookie, what's your favorite Aaron Tippin song? Wait, 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know one.
I know you've heard
That's a lie.
Cookie.
What does he sound like, though? Can you reenact a little bit of his national anthem?
Give me one.
I don't know anyone. I don't even know if he's actually a singer or if he's just a guy they found at a barbecue.
When the stars and stripes and eagles fly.
I would.
Don't blue ball me on this one.
I got nothing.
I will say that I looked up Aaron Tippin later on, and like currently, this man is completely yacked. Have you seen him?
I have not.
He was pretty.
Look up Aaron Tippin now. He looks like he could work a full 60-minute Iron Man match and be completely fine.
I think what you're looking for is yoked. Yacked, I think, is a bad thing. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Oh, damn, he is. This guy looks like what Johnny B. Bad looks like in the show.
Yeah.
That's great, man. What a fun fact.
I think Aaron Tippin probably got laid more than Johnny B. Bad.
Probably.
I don't know, man. Johnny B. Bad did have relations with Sable.
Did he? He got powerbombed by her. That's probably the most action he got. But yeah, the show opens up. So we got some commentary to open up. Then we have Aaron Tippin. Now we have a recap of WCW Saturday Night, which is, I guess, where Macho Man made his official debut, and a backstage promo basically hyping up he's going to be at Starrcade and all that. And then they cut to another segment where they're at the hotel nearby for the PWI Awards, the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Awards. I thought this was a funny add-in because it's so because they do this throughout the show. And this first one in particular was hilarious because it was Hulk Hogan getting Wrestler of the Year in 1994, which itself is kind of funny, but it's even funnier watching his speech, because he walks up, he's not in character at all, even though he's dressed kind of in character. He literally at one point goes, "In 1995, what are you going to do when Hulk Hogan runs?" It was so, but then later in the show, he's all coked out. Who's this guy? Invited this guy.
What's up, y'all?
Everybody's joining the party.
It's like I came down from the rafters.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
Should we just leave it to Aaron and to represent the podcast?
Let's just do. We could do that, or we could just do. Yeah,
I'm fine. I'm fine with whatever you guys want to do. Tolbert, you look higher than Giraffe Pussy. I don't know you, but you do.
He just got off work. I bet he smoked a big fatty.
Let me just. I'll just represent the podcast.
Boot the degenerate.
Here, hold on. I've never done this before. Honestly, it's hard to have 5 people on a podcast. I guess you guys have 4 at least, right?
Yeah,
usually.
But it's also it's different.
Yeah, because you guys do it in person sometimes.
Well,
you're saying
3 of us will do it in person most of the time. Then Cookie zooms in, but because it's more segmental, I think it
right.
Yeah. Conducive to having that many.
And I can and usually I'm watching Cookie, and if he gives me a cue, I'll talk to him.
Right.
And it makes it a little easier to kind of do everything. Otherwise, it's kind of sad like that.
Yeah, I guess he was doing it in a different room. So if he didn't have the lag, it would have been fine. Because I liked him when I listened to him on your podcast.
Well, he hosted the 1 week and he lagged out.
No!
Can I? Cookie just texted me. And he said, "For the record, I was prepared. I took many notes, mainly Bobby the Brain zingers. So he's going to send me those, and I'm going to interject those throughout."
Can you do a Cookie impression?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. That's very disappointing. Almost as disappointing as Jim Duggan versus Vader for this first match here. Jim Duggan versus Vader. The chairman of the board. Is that a good nickname? It's the first time I've actually heard that for Jim Duggan.
Yeah, I had never heard Jim Duggan called that. I don't think it got into my head like that. But then,
is it better or worse than Sean Spears being the chairman?
I didn't mind Sean Spears being the chairman. Yeah, but I also only just started watching wrestling, so I didn't know Sean Spears until he really came out and hit Cody with a chair.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you just started watching wrestling?
Yeah,
how long ago?
3 years ago, probably.
Oh, so you don't know a lot about Jim Duggan, do you?
No, I'm aware of him. That's why I kind of like watching.
He has a stick, a big
this pay-per-view from fresh canvas. Let's just see what happens. No preconceived notions.
Yeah, because I mean, even for me, because I was born in '93, so I clearly wasn't watching this at the time, and and a lot of these guys are guys I've just heard of, but I haven't really seen a lot of them actually wrestle. Even Vader, he's a guy a huge name, obviously, but I haven't seen a lot of his matches. So it's always fun. You look, like I said, you have the fresh face. You're very youthful. I would card you at a restaurant.
Thank you.
If that says anything.
Thank you very much. These are all the wrestlers that I grew up on, and these are the reason that I'm into wrestling were these guys.
Yeah, that's So there's one thing about this match that I couldn't stop paying attention to, and that's always bothered me, is Nick Patrick and his count cadence. Does that bother you guys too?
Nick Patrick is a wild card for me.
Yeah.
I love him or I hate him. He's also too tall to be a referee. Is that a thing?
Maybe that's his hindrance. Maybe that's why he's so awkward when he counts.
Just so much more timing.
Whenever you see him, his wrist goes all over. It's a whole weird thing. But that was my main takeaway from this match. What about you guys?
Can we talk about the bumps Harley Race took?
Dude, that was probably my favorite part.
Dude went over the top rope right at the beginning. It was wild.
Yeah, so Vader comes out first, I believe. And then Jim Duggan comes out and they fight in the aisle way. Jim Duggan just shits on Vader immediately. He just says, "Get the hell out of here." And Duggan gets in the ring. And like you said, he knocks Harley Race out. He tosses him, does a backflip over the rope, like you said. And then, but Vader gets back in. And this is a very common theme throughout a lot of these matches. The big heel kind of dominates for a while until the babyface comes back. It's a very old school formula. It's 94. I guess that was a thing back then. But Vader hits an awesome looking, I know it's the Vader bomb, so obviously he's the best at it. But just the way you see Jake Hager do it or other people do it, and it's just not nearly as effective for whatever reason. But
can we also talk about how beautiful his moonsault is?
Dude, it was because the Vader bomb first, and then in the opposite corner, he was going to go for another Vader bomb, but then teased the moonsault and then hit it, or he went for it, but missed. But yeah, like you said, it was it kind of looks like if he lands on you, you're just going to explode.
Yeah, you would die.
I think visually it makes sense because you don't expect that, because it's like watching a short person dunk. You're just not expecting him to do that, and then all of a sudden he just pulls it out, even though it's coming. If you've watched wrestling, he's about to hit it, and it's still just awesome to see.
Yeah, just I don't know how his weight is distributed. It makes him just snap down. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, like you said, it doesn't look like he could do it. But man, when he does it, he does it.
Vader's also notoriously a smelly man. Apparently, back then, he was incredibly stinky, and I'm sure that Duggan was not much more pleasant to smell.
No, this arena probably didn't smell all that great between the just general wrestling fans and Pity City, which we'll get into later, and all that shit. Oh man, but so Duggan. Oh man, I get Duggan. He's probably a fun character, I guess, for the time. He's never really resonated with me, I guess. But at some point, he goes for his 3-point stance clothesline, the devastating finish. I believe he hits it on Vader, but Harley Race breaks it up by gouging the eyes of Jim Duggan, that dastardly Harley Race. Vader goes for a crossbody off the second rope, but Duggan counters into a power slam, which looked pretty cool. He has Vader pinned, but Nick Patrick is distracted by Harley Race because why wouldn't he be? Duggan goes for a second clothesline, but gets tossed into Harley Race, who is holding his wood. Jim Duggan's wood.
That's a penis joke.
Hey everybody, we're talking about our dicks.
This guy.
But Duggan does a backflip into Vader. Vader catches him in a wheelbarrow and then face plants him. Kind of a random finish, but I guess with the 2x4 it made sense. The crowd loved it. The crowd was definitely more for Vader than Duggan at this point. At least it seemed like it. But yeah, the match is just kind of there for me, but it was fun for what it was. It didn't stay too long.
So I used to produce a professional wrestling television show, and I'd go around all the Carolinas, all 2 of them, and I would get I'd get matches here and there and just kind of compile them and air it on my local CW station that I worked for. And we got to get a Jim Duggan match. He wrestled here in Wilmington, North Carolina, where we live, at a bar. And this man's probably 65 years old, doing the same shtick. But let me tell you how over it is with my generation, who's a little bit older, but people still dig it. It's that character, the USA chant. Once that goes in, people are eating it alive.
Right. I guess. Yeah. And again, the whole ho and that ZZ chant, and I could see his value, especially just for an opening match here. But so Vader wins the US title, and essentially feels just like a stepping stone for him to face the champion at a later show. But boy, this next segment here. So we're backstage with Mean Gene Okerlund, and we have the 3 Faces of Fear. What a faction! I was not familiar with this trio until this show. I know the Dungeon of Doom, which I think has all these guys, right?
For the most part. And they're also changed around. One's Zodiac, one's Shark.
Right, because Butcher is Zodiac, I think, right? And then Avalanche, maybe just got another big guy in there.
Avalanche is the Shark later on.
The Shark, of course. Why wouldn't he be? Does he have a fin?
He does. He actually does.
Is he like Shark Boy in TNA?
No, not as terrible as that. So
how dare you, sir? First of all, but so we got the 3 Faces of Fear here. So we have Butcher, who is Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Kevin Sullivan, and Avalanche, also known as Earthquake. So we have this beautiful trio right here. Butcher is holding a gravestone because I guess he's going to kill Hulk Hogan. I guess
it's his present. I loved it.
It's clearly like a plastic gravestone.
Wasn't it upside down too?
Wait, did it say "Rest in Agony"?
Yes.
Phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. Word.
I'm all in.
I don't know if that's how I describe it. Then Avalanche. God, Avalanche. I don't know if he always. Because like I said, he's before my time too. Did he always cut promos jumping up and down?
Yeah.
Like
so
that?
He used to be called Earthquake, and so it's all the Richter scale and all that bullshit, right? So he was also a sumo wrestler back in the day.
Yes,
so he
John
started off
Tenta.
as a sumo guy. He played rugby. He played college football at LSU. He is just this massive dude. I think he's 6'7", right? And he always bounced. And he's very underrated in my mind because some of his Japanese stuff is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But when he got back to America, it's just terrible. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah, because his peak, at least in America, was more like in the late 80s, early 90s, right?
Yeah, like with the natural disasters.
Right, yes. So here he's just Avalanche. He's just snow, but he's still bouncing. And Kevin Sullivan started talking in this promo, but at that point, I kind of walked away and did something else for a while. Did he say anything interesting?
No, it's Kevin Sullivan, man. He's short. He's got this weird like body type. It's very interesting to look at.
He's a pear.
But he's also 5'8" and he's terrible.
What a review for Kevin Sullivan. That's what this podcast should have been. It should have been 2 seconds. It was short and it was terrible. Except it wasn't short.
But here's the Kevin Sullivan had some really cool runs in the 80s, right? He was like this cult figure and everybody was all in. And then like when he got to WCW, he was also a cult figure, but the cult, it was like 80s was like hardcore kind of gritty cult 80s. And then into the 90s, it was almost like if Disney had a cult and like, he like painted on the eyebrows and all that shit. It was stupid, but it scared me.
Right. Because that's WWF is doing the same thing too. And I guess it's interesting just the time. They had the Doinks and Quang and all that shit over there too. So I guess it was just the time. And maybe that's why wrestling was a down period at this point. But yep, after this, boy, we have a barn burner here. Jean-Paul Levesque versus Alex Wright. Could somebody do the Alex Wright dance for me?
I did it the other day, but I pulled a hip muscle.
That sounds like a lie to me. It sounds like you're
I'm
just
36,
saying that.
or I'm how old am I? Am I 35, babe? I'm about to be 35. So yeah, like it's like.
There we go. That's good. At least I can't see your hips. It's like Elvis back in the day.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the couch. I think I pulled the hip again.
That you just do the other one and it'll balance you out. Oh man, but yes, Das Wunderkind. Am I pronouncing that right?
Wunderkind, yeah.
Oh, let's see it.
So I will tell you, like as a part of this podcast, we go to a crappy it's not crappy. There's an antique store in town, and they're really cool.
They have one-offs. Like it's just weird stuff.
They have a ton of weird shit. And when the Alex Wright figure came on, Tolbert, the guy that we kicked off earlier, the stoned guy that just came in, that we had to kick off. Yeah, so he got me this, and it honestly is probably my favorite figure I have.
Bullshit.
It has realistic detailing and an awesome wrestling stance, if you guys can see, which is his package.
Awesome. I was about to say, is there actually a bulge there?
Is there actually a what now?
Bulge. Like dick bulge.
Let me get back to you. I'm gonna have to examine.
Open it up. Give it a little sniff.
I'm not opening up the Wonder.
Well, we lost Aaron.
No, you didn't.
But apparently,
so he's like 18 at the time. Like, so they were like,
yeah.
Oh, that he was really 18.
Yes. So they went over to Germany. They found this kid. The kid was like actually kind of impressive for their standards. They sent him to the power plant for some seasoning, right? And he ended up being like employed full time to WCW for 10 years. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was pretty much the same character throughout his entire run there, right?
Well, he had a little bit of time, like in the late 90s, they shaved his head and called him Berlin and like made him into this kind of neo-Nazi character, and it was not good.
That's cool.
And then they made him back into the Wonder Kid. So
just pretend this whole thing didn't happen when I was,
Hey, everybody goes through their weird stages, right?
I'm still in it, bro.
Yeah, we all go through a Holocaust stage. It's fine. It's just growing up. It's puberty. Ever heard of it? Speaking of puberty, though, someone who had not hit puberty at this point, Jean-Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, just looking... he's not scrawny, but like compared to what he would become...
Well, this is pre-steroids, right? I mean, obviously.
It was eating his vitamins, drinking his milk, doing curls. It was pre that. He's natural. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Curls needles into his arms and ass.
Okay. You're saying he was in the blue bloods, but he's more of a steroids in his blood. I don't know. But yeah, dude, this match. So we have John Paul Levesque versus Alex Wright. Two guys, like in the context of '94, nobody knew or really cared about either of these two because, like you said, they just picked up Alex Wright from a recent tour in not Japan, Germany, and John Paul Levesque was still super, super new. I think he would eventually form a tag team with Steve Regal, forming the Blue Bloods. I think that's more what he was known for in WCW, if nothing else. But this match, it was so. I've never heard a crowd this quiet. I don't think. Like it felt like a Japan match.
Oh, you haven't? Fast forward to when Brother Brutai is putting on a lot on Hulk Hogan.
Hey, they were at least booing or walking out. You can hear their footsteps walking out of the arena.
Can I just say, from an impartial observer, though, like, yeah, they were probably quiet because nobody knew who the fuck these guys were. But like, it was a decent match. I didn't mind. Yeah.
No, for sure. Especially compared to other matches on this card. I thought it was definitely really solid.
It was like legit wrestling. It was like, abdominal stretches, like arm drags, power slams, like, and at one point they Alex Wright standing outside the ring, and I literally said to myself, here goes Triple H about to do a tope, and he didn't. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, it's 94. Like, that would be dumb. So I don't know. I kind of liked it.
No, but I agree. I like the dynamic of Alex Wright, who is this high flying guy who is, it's like not a dime a dozen like it is today. Like, you didn't see that a lot in '94. So you had that with Alex Wright, and then you had Jean Paul Levesque, who was like the perfect heel. I mean, he was so like fundamentally sound. I mean, even compared to what he would have been in the future, still really solid in the ring, and definitely worked off Alex Wright and his high energy pretty well. Ultimately, Alex Wright moonsaults over Triple H. We'll just call him Triple H. He moonsaults over Triple H and rolls him up for the win. A lot of finishes like that on this show, just kind of out of nowhere roll-ups. I guess that's the old school way to do it. But so yeah, Alex Wright wins this match. And yeah, Jean Paul's there for a little bit longer, right?
For a little bit. Can we talk about Wonderkin some more? Because I really like...
No, we're done. No,
Alex Wright.
That's the allotted time for this segment. We're going to move on.
Alex Wright, being based off of Europop, come on now. Amazing. He's coming out to basically an Ace of Base song. It's the early 90s. It's the club scene. People are doing ecstasy and having fun.
Yeah. But then a few years later, it's just, okay, there's his penis.
That's the dance, bro.
Is it? Now you do it. When I ask you to do it, you don't do it.
I'm a grower, not a shower.
You know what? Fair point. But speaking of growing, we got Johnny B. Bad out here to make everybody grow with his mustache and blackface. And funny story with this match. So this is for the TV title. Johnny B. Bad is the champion. Was originally slotted to face Honky Tonk Man, but he got fired. I don't know if it was actually this day or if it was like a few days before this.
Day of,
you're right, yeah. And basically Honky didn't want to do the job for Johnny, and I guess there was some contract, whatever.
What a honky.
It does not surprise me that he wouldn't want to do the job to Johnny B. Bad.
It's like...
I'm just stereotyping Honky Tonk Man, but...
No, that sounds like an accurate stereotype.
I don't want to do that job, man.
Can you do the rest of this podcast like Honky Tonk Man, please?
I think so, brother.
Never mind. Don't do it. But yeah, it was basically, I guess, Honky, because he had just come on. It feels weird to call somebody Honky, but Honky came in. Yeah, I guess he was, because I listened to like some podcasts on this, and apparently he was working like $1,000 per match deal, and he wanted like a bigger, like a more salary kind of related contract or something along those lines. Who knows what the actual truth is, honestly, but they couldn't come to terms, so Bischoff fired him on the spot, and that was the day of, like you said. So last minute fill-in is Arn Anderson, which if you got to pick somebody to have a last minute match with no notice, I mean, Arn Anderson is pretty much, how could you get better than that?
One of Mike's favorites. Mike absolutely loves Arn.
I'm a huge Arn Anderson fan. Yeah. Like when he came out, like he debuted in AEW and came out and hit that spine buster, like I stood up. I was so excited. I love Arn Anderson. He's like, I even tweeted out while I was live tweeting about Starrcade. I was just like, he's a professional, man. He's got the look, he's got the moves, he's got the attitude, and you know what? He's not afraid to do the job, man. Like he's a professional.
Is this all based off of him being Cody Rhodes' manager?
No. We have watched a fair amount of Arn Anderson matches on our podcast.
Because I'm thinking you said you just started watching wrestling.
No.
Okay.
So I just started.
But he has this nice sweater vest.
But the nice thing is, like, for the most part, Aaron can then cherry pick what matches I watch, and so I can like. He gives me some shit for a while, and I berate him, and then he gives me some good stuff, and the good stuff always involves Arn Anderson. So no,
Arn Anderson is fucking great.
He's amazing.
Is because he was always kind of in the shadow. He was always in the shadow of Ric Flair, but his promos were good. His matches were good. Like he had the look. Super underrated guy.
And he's like Keanu Reeves. Like he doesn't age.
Exactly. Yeah, he looks. Yeah, I saw like the side by side the other day. You guys might
just gets wider.
Yeah,
a little wider.
But yeah, this match is fun. Well, first of all, before we get into the match, this is what my favorite Bobby Heenan line. He's talking about Nashville. He says, "I wish they would have bombed here instead of Hiroshima." What the fuck?
What? Like, dude, it's 94. Like, you're looking for like I just don't even know. Like, that joke probably played in the 60s.
I don't even know if it did then. A lot of people died.
A couple million, man.
I
guarantee that joke. I guarantee that joke played well when Bobby was working.
That's good stuff. That's his
yes,
4-seam fastball.
That's his back pocket.
A good Hiroshima joke. Yeah.
Hey man,
I'm not even joking. I swear to God, I think he used that line. He has used that line before in WWF when he was working with Gorilla Monsoon. I swear that I think that I've heard that line before.
I just want to point out that us at $2 Steak are totally against
bombing countries,
violence, and bombing other countries.
Well, I'm 27% Asian, so it's all fine. You guys got the pass. Nobody can cancel you for making Hiroshima jokes.
We also have an African American on our podcast, so we're a very inclusive podcast.
Does this count because we kicked him out?
I think that actually goes against what point you're trying to make here. Is he came and then we thought he wasn't good enough, so we got rid of him.
You segregated one of our best performers.
Is he? Okay.
I think it's Wi-Fi segregated.
Yeah. Man, I have just like so many jokes in my head, but I'm not even gonna.
It's a family podcast.
But yeah, Hiroshima. It's family friendly. So bombing Hiroshima, back to it. No, but that was the match itself, it was very clear that they were like kind of calling it in the ring, especially with Arn Anderson. Very old school, simple match. I mean, they didn't have any time to build it up, obviously. So what else really could they do? And once again, we have a roll-up finish with Johnny B. Bad rolling up Arn Anderson, retaining the TV title. Yeah. Did you guys enjoy this match?
I mean, I completely blame Randy Anderson and his incompetence for Arn's loss on this.
Do you?
Poor Pee-wee.
He was in the way and he distracted Arn and he allowed Johnny to get up underneath him. And, once you get up underneath a guy, it's all about leverage at that point. Arn shouldn't have lost this match.
That's a good point, actually. Maybe we can run it back. Get it scrapped from the record books.
Like we should have done for the beginning of this episode of the podcast. So
that whole first part was a big Randy Anderson in the beginning.
God damn it,
fucking Randy Anderson.
Fucking Randy Anderson. That's the title of this episode.
I will say, Mark Marrow, this point in time in his career looks better than any other time ever in his career. Like,
there's
a funny story about Vince McMahon watching like a WCW tape and being like, who's that guy? I got to have him. They hire him and then debut him as Mark Marrow. And then they realized that it was all who he was working with that made him look good. And it was no abilities whatsoever.
I mean, he had, he was, he could run around there, do a couple rolls. I guess he probably supports your point more than anything.
The streamer sticks, which are badass.
That, hey, it's all in the entrance, man. If he comes out, he has fireworks coming from his asshole, like streamers and glitter everywhere, and
well, he had that hip thrust cannon too, didn't he? Standing on the ring post.
Same.
Young Aaron loved Johnny B. Bad.
Did you?
Absolutely.
Do you have a figure of him too? Is it right next to your Alex?
That was one of the other options. We went for Wonderkin.
Oh, I thought you were about to get up and go grab it, and I was about to boot you from this podcast.
No, we got Liger, RVD, and Terry Funk. That's the only other ones I got.
What a crew! What a crew! Let me ask you: Do you have the Nasty Boys?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what did. This is the PWI in 1994 Tag Team of the Year. You guys big Nasty Boys fans?
We appreciate the Nasty Boys.
You appreciate them. You accept that they exist. No, I actually, I guess that's the next match, right? Because I bring that up because they had another segment from the PWI ceremony. Nasty Boys Tag Team of the Year. And I saw that and I was like, the fuck? Because, again, before my time, so all I know of the Nasty Boys is seeing them on Hogan Knows Best.
Not a lot has changed.
So yeah. I can say the Nasty Boy. So as a kid who grew up in the 90s and didn't have a clue about wrestling, it was like Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and the Nasty Boys are like who I knew from the early 90s.
Right.
You're also from the Midwest, and those guys are like totally Midwest dudes.
They scream to me Philly trash. Like when I think Philly,
I can see that.
The Nasty Boys, like that's the picture of somebody in Philly yelling at the parking attendant for giving them a ticket because they didn't pay the meter. Like that's what I see.
And that person happens to be Brian Knobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now that you mentioned it, I could see these guys at a Wawa for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They're probably Whiz guys, honestly.
Whiz?
On their cheesesteak.
Is that a thing?
I'm a provolone guy.
You're from New York, right?
No, I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, also a gutter trash area. So I know it when I see it.
You guys are all like over the place. I did go to Philly once, and I did get cheese whiz on my cheesesteak. And let me tell you, it was pretty okay. Like, it's not as crazy as people.
I kind of like it.
It's fine. Like, it's like, okay.
But Philly smells, and so do the Nasty Boys. That's it.
Yeah, they probably that's probably gonna get a lot of heat with a lot of people. But speaking of heat, got the Harlem Heat versus the Nasty Boys. Great segues. And so this, I guess, I don't know much about this build. It seems like, guys from Harlem versus rednecks. Seems like the extent of it. I couldn't really tell who was the face, who was the heel in this. It seemed like the Nasty Boys were positioned more as the baby faces.
Yes.
Maybe it's because they're in Nashville and everybody.
I was going to say, they're in Nashville, man.
They don't like the Harlem Heat, do they?
No.
Probably because of their wrestling abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love the theme song, though, for the Nasty Boys. That's probably my favorite part of the show, honestly, was listening to them come out.
They're the Nasty Boys. They've got a bad reputation.
Nasty Boys. But again, another match that started off, I can't remember if it actually started in the aisleway or if it just started like they broke out to the outside, but really, really high energy in the beginning, really fast pace. Like, it was really fun in the beginning. And then it kind of just like sunk into headlocks and abdominal stretches or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, this was the longest match on the card. Like, no shit.
Really?
Yeah.
It should have been 4 minutes.
It was 17.
17 minutes.
Good God. It was like, I guess I tuned out because I don't know. But so it's just a lot of nothing for like 13, 14 minutes of it. But towards the end, Sherri gets on the apron and she pulls out of her purse what I can only assume is hairspray. Tries to spray Sags, but or maybe it's a knob. I get them confused. Let's say Knobs. She tries to spray Knobs with the spray, but Knobs ducks and she accidentally sprays Booker right in the face. Oh man, comedy of errors. Sags hits an elbow drop from the top rope onto Booker, but then he goes to pin him, gets involved once again. She jumps from the top rope, trying to break up the pin, trying to splash onto Sags, but misses and lands on Booker, I believe it was. At that point, the ref just throws it out. Yeah, so I guess it was a no contest or somebody got disqualified. I didn't really understand what was going on.
17 minutes and then a no contest.
It was a disqualification, yeah.
It's good, right? That's how you get a crowd pumped.
Hey, at least Sherri hit that in heels. She went up to the third rope and hit it in heels. Sherri
is a champ.
Amazing.
I definitely have a secret boner for Sherri.
It's not a secret anymore. Now it's out there in the ether. Now
don't listen, Jasmine. I am not attracted to Sherri. Only you.
I'll never. So the last pay-per-view that I reviewed for WCW was Halloween Havoc, and I don't know if you guys have seen that show, but in the main event, Sherri just jumps from the top of a steel cage and lands on her fucking feet. Just a double axe handle from 15 feet in the air. And
send me that match. That's going to be one of our matches this year.
Dude, it's on Peacock or whatever the hell. It's Halloween Havoc 94. That's a good one. Oh, it's not a good one, but watch it for that. But then after the match, so as we mentioned, it's a bunch of nonsense until no contest, disqualification, whatever it was. But then we get Pity City. Is that I guess it was a thing they did?
Yeah, they definitely did this a lot.
That's cool. The Nasty Boys, one of them, who cares which one it was, points to with his armpit, and the other one puts Sherri's face into it.
It's a very 90s thing. I feel like that, like boogers, farts, and armpits were like 90s all day.
Oh, yeah, sure. I still do all that stuff.
You know what I thought about the other day? I can't remember the last time I saw somebody do like an armpit fart. People do that anymore?
Wait till you have kids.
No, they don't.
Wait till you have kids.
No.
I've done it with Elliot. He thinks it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny, to be fair, though.
I was never able to get it right. I always did the leg one. I just kicked my table.
You all right over there?
I think so.
You're Alex Wright dancing. You're kicking shit all over the place. This is what happens when you come on the show.
I gotta take it in because we had to get rid of two of our comedy relief. I had to kind of amp it up a little bit.
Well, I'll just like put them in like throughout the podcast. I'll just get little sound bites and just kind of like toss it in. I have Tolbert's face just in the background. But then backstage, so another PWI ceremony segment. Sting apparently is the most popular of 1994. But then it transitions from that to the arena where Sting is backstage with Mean Gene Okerlund. And it's just a big coked up promo from Sting, just yelling. A lot of yelling promos on this show, I noticed. But I guess that's the 90s, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Beats his chest. He says some stuff. He beats his chest and then he walks away. Those are my notes. But then, boy howdy. This next match, Kevin Sullivan versus Mr. T.
Banger.
It was something. It was something.
If this was in the Tokyo Dome, I would have given it 6 stars.
Yeah, that's valid. That's actually a very good point when you look at it that way. Can someone explain to me what Mr. T is wearing here?
He was so sleepy.
It's pajamas, right? Because he's wearing pajamas.
Somebody just woke him up. Mr. T comes out. He's wearing the PJs, still coming out, and then he walks down to the ring. And then might I add, as a video producer myself, I work in an industry where I use cameras a lot. Mm-hmm. And can we talk about how a cameraman got taken out and then for 10 fucking minutes he was laying on the ground pinned down?
It became some like wrestling porn scenario where they're just like fucking on top of him. It was wild.
I think that's what stuck porn is.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's a step cameraman.
Yeah. Poor guy. He's just laying there.
Hey, what happens?
And they're wrestling on top of him.
They didn't even like attempt to move.
No, sometimes you just get stuck in places. Like, hey, I'm stuck in this washing machine, and then there's a dick in my ass. That's the progression.
Cameraman should have kicked out. That's all I gotta say.
That's a good point.
They made reference to that the cameraman. I think they said now Mr. T is trying to pin the cameraman.
I mean, what else are you gonna do when get that Blair Witch shot? Like, I don't know.
But that was really, I mean, it's Mr. T in a wrestling match. I know he did like WrestleMania and shit, but like, I will say though, his punches looked pretty good. The body shots that he was throwing looked pretty. I don't know if he's like a boxer, like in his.
He's the toughest man from Chicago.
Is he?
That's what they build him as.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, because even at this point, he was like 7 years past being relevant. But
yeah, I was trying to think like what kind of tie-ins he was doing in 1994, and I really don't think that he was like doing much acting at the time.
He was friends with Hulk Hogan.
I could see
pretty much
that,
the extent
yes.
of it. That's pretty much the theme of the show, actually. It's friends with Hulk. But as Hulk Hogan and Friends, 1994 is what they should have called this event.
Kind of the theme of WCW, isn't it?
You know, it kind of was. So yeah, Kevin Sullivan versus Mr. T, which just saying this match makes me laugh. At some point, this match didn't last too long. At least it didn't seem like it to me, which is the one saving grace. But towards the end, Dave Sullivan comes out dressed as Santa because it's December. Santa. So Dave Sullivan, obviously the brother of Kevin Sullivan, who the two Sullivans are feuding at this point. They're at odds. And then so Dave walks out dressed as Santa, and his hat just falls off. Like there's no big reveal that, oh my God, it's Dave Sullivan. No, he just walks out and his hat falls off. And then Dave hits Kevin with a bag because, you know, he has the Santa. That's a sack of shit. Hits Kevin with a mysterious bag of some items. And that knocks Kevin Sullivan out, and Mr. T wins the match. Then after the match, Kevin gives Dave Sullivan a pile driver as Dave Sullivan's pants are halfway down his legs. And then Kevin Sullivan whips him with his own Santa belt.
That probably scarred me as a child.
Like physically? Did you get whipped with a Santa belt?
No, I mean, like I was obviously beaten a lot as a child. But
well, you know,
seeing Santa just get destroyed like that was something.
You know, I don't think it was actually Santa.
Are you telling me that
it was
Santa...
Dave Sullivan? No.
The continuity of the whole thing. I mean, the pay-per-view was on December 27th, so obviously Santa's back at the North Pole. So I knew
he stays in town.
No, I knew immediately it wasn't Santa.
Man, you're just poking holes in all of these plots, right?
Yeah, I mean, like as soon as I saw him in the crowd in the first shot of the Open, I was like, that's not Santa.
Yo,
Yeah.
He lived that gimmick though. He was Santa up until that time.
Was he?
Like for an hour and 30 minutes, he was having to sit in that hot ass costume.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I do remember. Now that you mentioned that, I do remember seeing him in the crowd, but they didn't. It's like, hey, it's Santa. Tony Schiavone's all excited.
Sweaty Santa.
I just thought it was some drunk dude dressed as Santa.
It was.
He probably was.
You're not wrong. Oh, God. But speaking of sweaty, we got a Hulk Hogan promo next. More yelling, more veins, more coke. Again, it's just like, I think I mentioned this earlier, but the promo they showed at his PWI the ceremony, he's like, oh, well, let me tell you something, brother. I'm gonna run wild on you. And then he's here, like, he walks up all casually. He seems normal, and he just fucking gets into Hulk Hogan. And it's just like, come on, man. And it's the 90s, I guess. I mean, Aaron, you probably love this shit, right? You're a big Hulkamaniac, it seems.
Not now. No.
Let it be known, this guy loves everything Hulk Hogan does.
No.
Everything he does.
So as a child, yeah, I probably got into it. I was watching, Thunder in Paradise, and I was eating the vitamins and all that shit, and bought the Pasta Mania or whatever.
That's a new one.
Whatever Hulk Hogan did, I loved. And in fact, during Christmas time this year, we watched Santa with Muscles. We are all about terrible 90s Hulk Hogan.
I support that.
Not racist, Bubba the Love Sponge porn making Hogan. It's two separate entities.
I mean, but he does a good leg drop though, and he has the muscles.
Does he?
He has a leg drop.
He does.
I mean, it put away Andre the Giant, for God's sake.
He did.
This is just facts. Okay. But after this Hogan promo, we have Sting versus Avalanche. So Sting. So again, this match was just kind of there for me. It was another situation where, it starts off hot, but then the bigger Avalanche just kind of takes over at some point and uses his pure girth and beef to kind of just dominate Sting for a little bit. But at some point, the ref is in the corner. He's behind Avalanche. Sting does the Stinger splash in the corner and just squashes the ref in like underneath Avalanche. So the ref is down because you can't have a WCW match without a ref bump. So, but Kevin Sullivan comes out after this since the ref is down.
Who should be going through concussion protocol at this point.
Oh man, it's a wonder. It's a wonder where he is now. But so Kevin and Avalanche double team Sting for a little bit. Avalanche, and then at some point another ref comes out and throws this match out. I think Sting ends up winning by disqualification, but it's like, why bother with the ref bump if you're just gonna have a disqualification? I don't know, man. But Avalanche hits his earthquake drop. They beat up on Sting for a little bit, but Hulk Hogan, the real American, comes out to make the save. He comes out with a chair.
He blows his entire entrance right there. Like,
yes.
Why?
Because his match is literally next. So it's like, why even just stay out there? You might as well.
Yeah. There's no point in going back out and then coming back in.
Yeah.
Hogan sucks.
But yeah, anything else on this match?
No. Well, actually,
that's good.
So Avalanche, tall dude, right? I think a scorpion deathlock on a tall guy looks really vicious because you just get them all flexed back there. I don't know. I liked it. That's about the highlight of this match.
Is he tall?
Avalanche,
he doesn't strike me as a tall guy. How tall is he?
Right?
6'7".
Is he? Is that a shoot height or is that a build height?
He's a big boy. He wrestled like super heavyweight.
A lot of legs, a lot of barrel belly.
Right. He's all belly. He's all torso. But once again, we're back to more Pro Wrestling Illustrated awards. Jimmy Hart apparently wins Manager of the Year in 1994.
That's right, baby.
That is right. And fucking Bobby Heenan hits him with a zinger. Says that, man, Jimmy Hart winning Manager of the Year is like if Forrest Gump won Highest Intelligence of the Year. It's like, yeah, fucking Down syndrome people. Did he have Down syndrome, Forrest Gump?
I think he was just on the spectrum. No, he was just on the
Maybe
spectrum.
I'm thinking of something else.
He was probably rocking like a 90 IQ. That's all.
That's kind of the same, right?
Nah, a little bit.
Which, I mean, is
Down syndrome's a chromosomal issue.
5 less than Tolbert.
Okay. So that's the issue here. God, but speaking of missing some chromosomes, we have a package hyping up Brutus the Barber, the Butcher, Beefcake.
Brother Brutai.
Brother Brutai, whatever you want to call him versus Hogan in the main event. So we have a little package here hyping it up. So the backstory here is basically, so Brutus came in as a friend of Hogan, naturally, but at Clash of Champions a few months before this, Hogan was attacked by a mysterious masked man with a pipe. So he attacked him at the knees. So he injured Hogan's knees. Masked man. And at, I believe it was Halloween Havoc, it was revealed that the masked man was, oh my God, it's Brother Brutai. Nobody cares. So that's why we have this main event of the biggest show of the year with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Hyped. So we got WCW title on the line. Like I said, Hogan versus the Butcher, what they're calling him, not Abdullah. And they cracked me up in the beginning here. So first of all, I can't stand Michael Buffer. I don't know what it is. Something about the way he it's like useless facts when he's introducing people.
That's a very odd position to hold. I feel like he's like a staple.
That's the hill I'll die on is fuck Michael Buffer.
I mean, I feel that same way
His
about
brother's not much better.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that makes sense. But he introduces Hogan, and Hogan's music just starts playing again. Like what? And then pyro goes off just from him being introduced. Man. But I guess it's Hulk Hogan, and WCW needs him, so do whatever makes him happy. But this match, yeah, again, just another match. It felt very 80s, just very. I mean, it's the Hogan formula. He gets beat up for a while, he hulks up, and then he hits the leg drop 1, 2, 3. A crowd isn't into this at all, even during the Hulk up. That's their trump card, but nobody gives a single fuck about Hogan or Beefcake here. But then towards the end, the other two faces of fear, Avalanche and Kevin Sullivan, come out, because we've seen all of these guys like fucking 12 times on this show already. But they come out to help the Butcher. Hogan just goes ahead and hits the leg drop anyways and wins. I guess they were too slow, but the real money here is what's after the match. So the three faces of fear are standing there, just standing there awkwardly, getting ready to attack Hogan. Hogan's eye raking them, and they don't really know what to do because Jimmy Hart gives Hogan a chair at some point, but he took his sweet old time doing it. So that's a thing. But then Macho Man comes out, and the whole thing is he on the side of Hogan or is he the enemy of Hogan? And at first they paint it like Macho's gonna join. He's gonna be the fourth face of fear, but it's all a ruse. He's in cahoots with Hogan. So Macho Man and Hulk Hogan fight off the three faces of fear. Hogan hits some of the most ridiculous chair shots I've ever seen, like in a bad way, literally like to knock them all out. And then the Mega Powers pose to end the show because apparently it's 1989.
It took way too long.
Yes.
You said it took the Faces of Fear too long to come out. They were too slow. Did you guys catch Avalanche jogging down to the ring?
No, but I felt it. That's why I was
right
at home.
Visually, it was as unappealing as seeing Braun Strowman do that run around the ring that he does. But Avalanche was slower. Like it, he was like literally walking down the ring, but like moving his arm. It's kind of what I used to do in 2-a-days when the coaches would be yelling at you to like run, and you're like, "Oh no, I'm jogging," and you're just like moving your arms like you're doing it.
Yeah, no, I'm running.
You're mall walking like a 65-year-old lady with a bad hip.
You got ankle weights in your
heel toe.
2.5 dumbbells just going at it.
The whole thing, like, and I don't know if it's because I came in watching wrestling knowing that Hulk Hogan is just a racist, misogynistic piece of shit. But everything I watch of his is just so sterile, and like I just do not care. And like besides WrestleMania 3, that was the Andre one, right? Like that one kind of got hyped about. But everything else I see of Hogan's, I literally just could not care less.
It's not wrestling. It's just
it's just like this dude, like, you know, it's like eating the same shit every day. Like you like it initially, but like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 years, 6 years in, like this is the same shit. It's terrible.
Yeah. No, it's definitely because even like in his later WWF run, initially people were getting sick of him, and they were already like not. I mean, I'm not going to act like they didn't pop for Hogan, but like they definitely would become fatigued pretty quickly, and that's kind of what led to his heel turn, I guess, right in a few years from now. But yeah, like you said, Hogan. I mean, like I said, he has the formula, and although have you seen the his match with The Rock?
Yeah, I was about to say like the one-offs like that makes more sense, like because it's a thing you would never have expected to watch or see, but to watch him try to like build this storyline with this like masked dude, you're just like, I just don't care. But granted, they weren't booking this for a guy who's watching it 30 years later. I get that,
right?
Can we talk about the fact that Brother Brutai, when he was a part of the Hulkamaniacs as a part of the build, wore two fucking fanny packs, like two. Like he looked like Leon Kennedy in like Resident Evil. Like he had like all these like packs. It was amazing.
He has a lot of cargo. That's where he keeps all of his scissors and his other barber
and
stuff.
Hulk Hogan's drugs.
There it is. He's zapped of it now. This is post steroid trial.
Well, he's on a different kind of steroids. His is now more for pain and inflammation.
Oh, I see.
Now, Mike has a medical degree. He could tell us all about this.
I was about to say, he seemed very confident. I didn't even want to argue because this guy knows his shit. Speaking from experience. But so, yeah, that match happens. Hogan retains the title over Beefcake, who was in the main event for whatever reason. But then the post after this, I almost didn't even watch it because I almost turned it off after the match. But it might have been my favorite segment of the whole show. Hogan is backstage. He's back there with Mean Gene. Macho Man's back there. A lot of the roster, like Johnny B. Bad's back there for whatever reason. They're just hyping up, him winning the title or retaining the title. Macho Man's there now. But then who interrupts? Vader time. Vader barges in and basically just bucks up to Hogan, claims that Hogan's scared of him. Just a really good promo from Vader here, I thought. At least like in the context of mid-90s, like what it was.
Cookie actually wrote, Cookie sent me some notes since we kicked him off early.
Oh, good.
He wrote, Vader gave a fire promo at the end of the pay-per-view. It was sick. I wanted Vader to knock Hogan the fuck out. Hogan was hiding like a little bitch behind Mean Gene. Thank you, Cookie.
Man, I wanted to hate that, but that was fucking hilarious.
It's a fact. Vader's promo was literally fire. Like I was kind of like you. I was gonna just turn it off. And you see Vader like storm in there, and I'm like, all right, what's this guy got to say? And
he seems like he means business.
It seems like he was dead serious with what he was saying.
Oh, probably.
no jokes to be had by Vader.
Yeah, no.
Or deodorant.
So building to that, obviously Hogan versus Vader, which sounds like a pretty badass match, but I'm sure it's gonna be the same thing.
Spoiler alert: it was not good.
It's not. Well,
no.
Does he at least Hulk up in that match?
He does. I think that also it kind of killed Vader's career a little bit, like in America. And he was, forced to do a lot more in Japan, which I appreciate. And then, of course, his terrible run in WWF.
I was about to say, I thought it was Shawn Michaels that ruined his American run.
Well, there was a little bit of both.
He was getting it from a lot of angles, I guess. Takes a lot to knock down Vader, I suppose. But yeah, that brings the show to a close. Starrcade 94, man. It was a show that happened.
It was interesting. Again, watching this from a blank slate, I love Harlem Heat. I love Arn Anderson.
Yeah.
The whole Wunder Kid and Triple H kind of thing was interesting. Vader's a good guy. Sting, Tolbert loves Sting. Like Tolbert would do anything for Sting. I'm okay on Sting. Anything. I'm okay on Sting, and then I hate Hulk Hogan. Like, so for me, up until that Hulk Hogan match, I was kind of like into it, watching it. I've turned off shit. Like I'll randomly pull up some stuff on the network and just to watch it, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible, and I'll turn it off. So like, I didn't mind watching it. It was okay. It was a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was. That is a fact. No, actually, there were like bursts of stuff like that I liked, like you said. A little bit of Alex Wright. I'm not too familiar with Alex Wright, so it was cool to see him. It's cool to see early Triple H. Cool to see Vader, Johnny B. Bad and his pyro, and Booker T. Like I love Booker T, even though that match lasted way too long. But there was, like I said, a few good things in this show. But it's weird that it's like the culminating pay-per-view of the entire year resulted in this, but it was a relatively easy watch, I think.
So we always end our show with a haiku. So we write haikus for different things. It's actually Tolbert usually does this, and
it's a haiku. He gets high, and then he.
It's a haiku.
Right,
HIGHKU. It's our gimmick.
Yeah,
nobody gimmick infringement over here. So I wanted to sum up the Starrcade 94 experience with a haiku, if I can.
Go for it.
Hogan over. No, wait. God damn it, I fucked it up. Hogan
this guy.
and Brutai. Starrcade 1990. Starrcade 94 was bad. Johnny B. Bad fucks.
That not only was that not a haiku, I don't even think those were sentences.
No, it was totally a haiku.
He fit one in there randomly.
I think I skipped over a syllable.
We kicked the expert of the haiku off the podcast.
That's our fault, actually.
Yeah, and on it really is.
That's also probably Gorilla Glue, brand weed's fault.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna say Gorilla Glue.
No,
is that what he does? That's what I used to do. Yeah, that's all I got, guys. You guys got anything else?
No, thank you for having us on. We apologize profusely for the two delinquents that we had to kick off.
Can I give us a shout out? Follow us at #2steak_ on Twitter and Instagram. Give us a listen. We're kind of in our like Jeff Hardy TNA stage right now, where it's just like not very good. Like it was really good. We were doing really good. It was awesome, and now we're like kind of in the shits. We're gonna climb back out of this. We're gonna get clean, and I think we're gonna head towards 150, doing a little bit better.
Can I also, this past week, in honor of our 100th episode, if you go on our Facebook page, it's $2 steak, and I don't know why I did this because of RO, like looking this up, it's really hard. So we actually did the number 2. With the $ in front of it, steak, if you want to find us on Facebook. And we blew up my deck. We had our own exploding barbed wire deck match this past week. I went out and bought some barbed wire and some fireworks from Myrtle Beach. Set them ablaze. I think it was better than AEW's Revolution.
I was about to say, did it actually explode?
Yeah, so we actually caught Tolbert's hair on fire. So it was interesting. We had a consultant who was a fireman sitting there drinking beer and making sure that I didn't catch my house on fire because of mortgage payment and all that shit. But it ended up being okay. If you'd like to see that, go on our Facebook page. Otherwise, follow us on Twitter and all that shit. Instagram. Tolbert runs Instagram. Mike runs Twitter. I kind of run the Facebook. It's just kind of like a hodgepodge of shit. I think Cookie's going to try to get us a TikTok, whatever that bullshit is.
At #2 $steak_ on Twitter and Instagram. Some weeks we have some fire content. Other weeks it's a fucking dud.
I'll put all that info in the description as well to make it easy, so everybody can kind of fiddle through all that. But
yeah, we're not a cohesive podcast at all, as you found out. How we made it to 100 episodes, I have no fucking idea.
I wouldn't have invited you guys on had you guys not had a good... Because I used to not vet my podcast that I brought on. I used to be like, oh, you're wrestling. Come on in. But I listen to people now before. So really entertaining podcasts you guys do. And by the way, the TNA phase of Jeff Hardy is the best description of a podcast I've ever heard. That would make me want to watch anything. That you're in the mid-2000s Jeff Hardy running cars off the road and shit. Like, that's what I want in my ears.
Give us a listen.
I guess if you hate yourself, give them a listen. No, but yeah, for real, guys, thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I appreciate you having us, man.
Once again, thank you to Mike and Aaron from the $2 Steak podcast for joining me on this lovely, lovely episode of WCW Starrcade 1994. Super fun time with those guys. And thank you to Cookie and Tolbert as well. Unfortunate that we couldn't get you guys involved in the show more so. But thank you for watching the show. Thank you for sitting through fucking Jim Duggan and the Nasty Boys for me. Unfortunate we couldn't make it work, but I'd love to get all those guys on in the future for sure. Like I said, all their info in the description. Go check them out. $2 Steak podcast. And apronbump.com for all my episodes. If you are not already aware, I have worked to kind of segment all of my episodes into a series. So if you just want WWF, you got that. If you just want Attitude Era, if you just want TNA, if you want modern alternatives, all of that is super easy to find on apronbump.com. Go check it out if you haven't already. Go check out my YouTube as well. It would be a weird edit situation, so I don't know if I will have a YouTube version, or at least it will be on YouTube, but maybe not a video version. But we'll see. We'll see what tickles my pickle. But go check out my Progress Chapter 11 episode that has a video version, as well as TNA Lockdown, Survivor Series 94. I'm going to start incorporating video more often, so go subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. And we'll also, I know I've been talking about it for a long time, but I've made the upgrades to my setup that I've been playing in. It's taken a while, but I believe I am now ready to start doing some live content for you guys. I'm thinking about doing maybe like a WrestleMania predictions / pre-show kind of deal. So keep an eye out for that and subscribe to my YouTube to make sure you are properly notified. But yeah, that's all Daddy has for you today. I'm gonna go take a shower after talking about Jim Duggan and fucking Honky Tonk Man and Johnny B. Bad and all that shit. All this lovely 1994 WCW shit. But we're out and we're into 95, where there is just more shit, but a different year. Can't wait. Really can't wait, honestly, though. But thank you guys once again for listening. I am hard.
Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it.